some of my beautiful Lunar Wisdom authors. So I have Amanda Noor and Stephanie Moyer, who are joining me at the moment. And we are talking about the fact that today is our launch day of our brand new Lunar Wisdom book. So it looks just like this. Sorry, Steph, didn't mean to cover your face up. But Lunar Wisdom, Reconnecting with the Divine Feminine Through Rituals, Spells, Magic, and the Phases of the Moon, has been released on Amazon today. So it is available for purchase on Kindle. The paperback will be coming out late November, early December. But you can grab it for 99 cents on Kindle today. So if you would like to help support our launch and help our girls become international best-selling authors, then please do consider spending 99 cents and grabbing a copy of the book, because the girls have worked really hard and I'm so excited to be sharing this space with you guys. So I just want to ask, because obviously the US is a little bit behind the rest of the world when it comes to time zones, how did it feel when you guys woke up this morning and found out that we had actually already hit #1 in Australia? So for those of you who caught us earlier, when I was talking with Ruth and Catherine and Talisha, we shared this screenshot where we were #1 in women in business, witchcraft and spirituality, and also Wicca and witchcraft as well, which you can't see because of the ticker tape. So what did it feel like for you guys to wake up and find all of that, like in the author chat and on posts and everything?
Oh, that was amazing. I just can't even put into words like the feeling of that. So the first thing I did was like, I grabbed my phone when I woke up. I just grabbed my phone, and I mean, I'm not even like half awake yet, and I get on messages and I see all of these messages from all of the Aussie authors, and just like popping bottles of champagne and talking about them. I see the screenshots, and I just jumped out of bed. That was so amazing. I woke my daughter up and I sent a message to my husband. He was already at work, and yeah, it was I've been riding on like this high, this energy all day. It was like, pinch me. Yep, no, I'm not dreaming.
Right? So my husband got up to go milk cows at about when the new moon hit, right, that time. And I kind of just woke up and I was like, oh, now it's the new moon. It's book launch day. And then I was like, I don't need to send emails out at 4:00. So I'm like trying to sleep for a couple more hours and just not really. And so I think it was about 6:30. I was like, okay, I'm going to get up and start sending my emails. I picked up my phone and I was like, what? Like, it was really exciting. I was like, you go to Australia. It was so exciting. I had to bother my husband's nap and be like, because, he came in. And he rests a little bit in the morning, and I was like, so we're #1 in these categories in Australia. I was like, no, that happens when you're sleeping.
Oh my goodness.
See, like yesterday was my birthday. So I spent the day with friends, and then my husband made dinner, and we got, like, as authors, we got to purchase the book yesterday. And so I was like reading it, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm just getting all excited. I haven't read it all, but I'm just like, I've been so excited to read everybody else's stuff too. So
yeah, I know. I'm like a quarter of it today, but I haven't really had the time to really sit down and finish it yet. I can't wait. But what I've read like so far, I think it was like the first 3 was, it's so amazing, so magical.
Yeah, I have to confess, I've pretty much read everybody's chapters, and you guys are just so filled with light and joy, like even in the bits where everybody's sharing their beautiful messes, right? Like where everything is just fucking dark moon crumbling, kind of like quarter moon clashing, just all of the things are going freaking sideways. And yet there is still so much magic in there. So, I have loved reading everybody's stories and everybody's journeys, and the way that everybody sees the moon reflected in their lives and their businesses and their beliefs and just everything. the different ways that it shows up for each of you. And that is exactly the kind of thing that I was hoping that everyone would share, because none of the stories are carbon copies of each other, right? Like everybody's story is completely individual and completely beautiful in its own way. And I love it so much, so freaking much.
So every time like the edits would come back, there's like this one part in my section, and I would be like, I need to highlight this, and then I'd be like, oh, but I wrote it, like, you know. So it's like I can't, you know, like clearly I need to keep using it. But then on the last one, when they were like, you need to write like a conclusion, just kind of throw something in, I actually made myself cry. I was like, and I think I messed Tracy. I'm like, it made me bawl, like, right?
Yeah.
Conclusion, and I read it now, and it just like it just hits me, and I'm like, wow, like, yeah, I needed that.
It's amazing when sometimes the things that we write that we think that we're writing for other people are actually messages for ourselves, like messages for our future selves.
That is so true. Gosh, that is so true. If we go back even like 5 or 10 years from now, we'd probably still maybe reinforce things that we've had forgotten. You know, that happens so much. So, yeah.
I find it even happens like even only like weeks ago or months ago. Like I've gone back as part of like writing my chapter as well. And I talk about this in my chapter, that I've reviewed old journal entries, even from this year, like 6 months ago, like the full moon in Libra. Fucking cracked shit open for me. But I didn't realize it until I went back and I reread those journal entries. And I'd been to a women's circle held by a friend and mentor of mine that I absolutely adore. And I remember that circle because I fucking cried for the whole thing. I cried for the whole thing.
Amazing.
But then I didn't really think about it afterwards, right? You know, like I went to the circle, I did my crying, and then I moved on.
Right.
But when I went back and I read what I wrote during that circle, and then I noticed like everything that had unfolded after that, because I wrote, so that was like on the 15th of April or something like that, which was before I launched Gemini Moon Press. It was before I announced LunarWisdom. So it was like a different version of me that didn't have this container, right? This book, it didn't have any of you. And yet, in the part where, because it was a winter into spring themed one, so we did a lot of the releasing beforehand, and then we did the spring, like what is it that we want to grow? What is it that we want to bring in? And the things that I wished for were you guys. Like literally when I was rereading it, I'm like, oh my God. What I wished for that I didn't realize that that's what I was writing at the time was that I was wishing for like my business partnership with Jenny, which is freaking amazing, and an amazing circle of like clients who like soul aligned clients who light me the fuck up. And here you guys are. And I wanted to cry rereading that, because I just like, I felt it so much. And, you know, so I think, yeah, looking back 5 and 10 years, absolutely, like that is mind blowing. But sometimes even like 6 months, you just don't know how much life changes in 6 months, and until you go back and look.
That's true. The manifesting was strong.
Yeah. Sure.
That's one thing that I've noticed in talking to like, you know, all of the other authors and getting to know everybody the past few months, and then reading some of the stories, is the similarities. Just everybody's is different. Their paths are different, and how we practice is a little different. But the similarities, all of us basically we're manifesting, all of us, you know, and we found each other, and there's just, it's not going to stop here. There's so much more to come, And I am just so excited for the future. I could just scream.
I know. Oh, I love it. I love it.
I see Tracy's drinking her champagne. I haven't even popped my bottle yet.
I know. Well, I mean, it's 1 a.m. here, so I think I deserve it. I think I've earned it. I mean, in the call earlier today, Talisha was like, "It's 10 a.m. Is it too early?" and Ruth's like, "No, it's like 8 o'clock at night here. It's fine. Get on it."
5 o'clock somewhere.
That's right.
It's 5 o'clock here, Tracy. So you're good.
Right. I mean, I think 1 a.m. is a perfectly acceptable time to be drinking, don't you?
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Especially on a day like today. Yes.
Yes, right. And I mean, because this day is like one of those days where, like, for me, the day rolls because it's like the Australian time zones, the European time zones, the US time zones. So it's actually like, it's not just a 24-hour day for me today. It's like a 36-hour day. But yeah, I didn't open it till dinner time. I've just managed to make it last through the evening. I'm just saying.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. That's something I probably wouldn't have been able to do. It would have been gone.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I wasn't just sitting down and drinking it the whole time. I was also doing other things. But yeah, so no, it's all good.
Women in business still have the kids and the spouse and the
yeah. But I mean, talking about the US, so we are currently sitting on number 3, number 4, and number 10 on the bestseller lists. Number 3 in women in business and number 4 in Wicca and witchcraft. And I'm just going to turn off the ticker tape just for 2 seconds so that you can see that we're also number 10 in women in business in books in general. Right. So
nice.
So what that means is like multi-format. So that can include not just Kindles, but also like paperback books, audio books, and everything else in between. So we are so close to actually hitting that number 1 spot. And we have hit number 1 in the hot new releases. So we hit number 1 hot new release in the US in witchcraft, religion, and spirituality, which is pretty exciting.
Yes.
So yeah, like, how does that make you guys feel to think like you're like in the US, like your family and friends and everybody that's supporting you has helped get you to this point?
It's all of these emotions wrapped up into one. Like I said earlier, it's just been like this emotional tornado, it's just, constantly, I can't believe it's here. Finally, it's exciting.
So it's interesting because it's like I've gotten messages and email responses back, from my email list and from friends and things that they purchased it. And like, depending on who it is, well, I mean, it's all great who I've gotten it from, but it's like looking at that and being like number 1 in like witchcraft and spirituality, I'm like, I'm not sure I want to see that. I'm like, I'm going to brag about we're number 3 in women in business. Like,
I mean, let's not pretend for a minute that there isn't a huge coming out of the closet moment here in terms of like, I mean, the title of the book and the subtitle of the book very much positions us, like through rituals, spells, magic, and the phases of the moon. Like, it pretty much like nails what we're talking about. But it is like that being visible and being seen in those spaces as those women, right? Like, society still judges those women. And now we are saying like we are those women. And that's, like, there has been a lot of fear around that for a really long time.
Yeah, agreed. And we've all felt it, we've all You know, that moment when like we step out and we show the world who we are, our authentic selves, and it's so scary. But however, the feeling that feeling alive for the first time and just and owning that and not caring like, okay, I mean, we're probably gonna get, you know, judged, but that's okay. That's okay because I am who I am unapologetically, and you can be who you are and you can think how you are, but I'm not going to conform, you know, to make you comfortable anymore.
I love how you said that. I'm not going to conform anymore to make you comfortable. Yes. Feel that so strongly.
Yeah, absolutely. So it feels great.
Yeah, that's been like my motto. I mean, I'm just, and that's why I tell my husband anymore. I'm like, I just don't give a shit anymore. I just don't care. I don't care what other people think. But then you kind of do. But then you're like, nope, I don't. And then you rein it in again. You know, it's a process.
Yes, it is. It is such a process because, you know, we all have like these, I guess, not just energetic boundaries, but like because it goes in spirals, you know, we come around and we think, yes, like I'm totally here for this, like bring it on. And then we come back around to those vulnerable moments, which I tend to think often happen around the third quarter moon, not gonna lie. Where then it's like that dark night of the soul where you're like, oh my God, what have I done? Like, what are people going to think? Like, who am I to be doing this? And then we continue back on and we're like, no, like, I'm totally good with this. And then we come back around again and it's like, oh, I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah. The struggle is real sometimes. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think also, and I did touch on this in my chapter too, that for me, recognizing those things, like actually noticing those, does make it easier. And Amanda, I know we've talked about this before. I'm pretty sure you've talked about it in the author chat. Like when we have those energetic clashes with people in our lives, and then you look out the window and you're like, I see you, first quarter moon.
I had that writing the book. And that was the funniest thing too, is like my writing process. And it was really funny because like I'd be like, I'm like on the ball and I'm, you know, going, I feel great. And then like all of a sudden it's just like I can't look at it. And I'm just having this with that. And I'm like, and then you're like, really? And then when I get to start writing again, the part that I want to write about is matching what's going on in the sky. And I'm just like, really? I mean, clearly, but it was really interesting when I just started going, every time I'd pick it up because I couldn't just deal with it. And then I pick it up and I'm like, it just matched. And then I was like, well, that would explain that then.
Yeah.
Didn't even plan it, but there you go.
I love that. That's so great.
It is. I feel that so strongly too. And it's just like it's not just a process, but it is a journey and it is cyclical. And it's one of those things that we were when we were talking earlier with Ruth and Talisha and Catherine, we were talking about one of the reasons that it's so important for this book to be out there at the moment and for this book to be out there for other women to read, whether they consider themselves witchy or not, right? Like this, it is a book that invites people into the, I guess, the spiritual space and in like very deeply into the woo. But one of the things I think is that if you read everybody's stories, you see that we are all just like normal women with normal shit going on in our lives, and that there isn't really anything that, I mean, obviously everybody is full of magic, right? But when you read the stories, it's not like there is any particular magic that sets us apart from anybody else, right? Like, and that one of the reasons I think it's really important to be sharing this message now with as many women as possible. And that's why launch day, I think, for me is so important, because it's us getting our book out there into the world and letting people read it and see it and getting it into people's hands. We don't know who needs to read that message. We don't know who might be struggling with things that we have been struggling with, or struggling with those things and didn't realize that it coincides with the third quarter moon, or that it doesn't, just keep coming up because it's part of that cyclical process. And they're tearing their hair out thinking, oh my God, like, fuck my life, this is so hard. And having the opportunity to see other women like you guys sharing your stories, reading the stories, and absorbing the pieces that resonate also allows them to have the freedom to lean into the energy as well, and to release and let go of the expectations, and just be like, wherever this is leading me is obviously where I'm meant to be going.
Mm-hmm. Well, the one thing that I thought that really kind of, like I said, that caught me off guard was all the rankings in the business sections. And then in the author chat, where it was kind of brought up that it's time that we take that more attracting feminine approach into business, right? Because this the hard and go at it model, it works for some people, mostly men, but
yeah,
yes. As a woman, when you're doing that, and I was part of I'm still friends with a lot of them, and we taught a lot of personal development and goal setting, and it was a lot of that hardcore, more masculine approach, and I struggled with it. Like, I'm like, logically, I was like, yeah, makes sense. This is what you do. And it never just felt natural to me, and so then of course in the system, right, you're the problem, not the system isn't the problem, you're the problem, even though it's not working. And so as I've worked with the moon, and I've worked with all our authors and stuff, it's just like, no, like that approach works. Like, and we've talked about that, Tracy, and I've heard that in your podcasts, where you just kind of let go and allow. And I think you had that Facebook where someone's like cold contacting you to, pitch or whatever. You're just like, if you're gonna pitch me, at least know what I'm about, because I'm not about that.
Yeah.
I don't know you. We're not aligned. Like, that's not how I do business. So bye-bye.
Like, if you took a look at my profile, it would be pretty clear that my goals is not to be like to coach coaches on how to scale to 6 figures or whatever. So telling me that I should join your Facebook group because it's full of coaches is not going to be like, it's not my jam. And they're like, oh, so tell me about what you do. And I'm like, have you looked at my profile?
Yeah. Just that cold calling, cold messaging, that get her in there. And, and truth be told, I have instances where that does help, when I've gone and done farm work for my husband, and me and the kids are trying to get the sprinkler line set up, and it's like this puzzle piece, I got to dig in there and get it done. And then I'm pretty proud of myself, but that's like moments. I personally can't sustain that energy.
Yeah.
But with the moon, like I said, I was writing a book about the moon, and then I'd be in flow, and then all of a sudden I'd be like, ugh, I just don't want to touch it. And then I'm like, but I'm writing about the moon, and I don't have to, because I'm in a cycle.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the, that is so freeing about this, is that it's okay to slow down when we need to slow down. Yes. Like, there is no behind. We're not competing against anybody else. The only people we're competing against really is ourselves. And that's mostly only because our ego is stepping up and it's saying, but you should be more productive, and you should be further along by now than you are. And it's all of those things, except that when we manage to strip that back and silence that negative voice in our heads, and just really allow ourselves to lean into the intuition and be like, so what is my next step? Like, what is my logical next step? What is my aligned next step? We never actually take any wrong steps. We're never actually behind, because we can acknowledge that wherever we are in any given moment is exactly where we're meant to be. for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I know sometimes the hard moments, you're just kind of like, but why?
Well,
Why?
that's like when we're like, get ready for lunch, do this. And I'm like, I'm not techie. I don't really have I'm like on the bottom of the pole here where a lot of ladies have been building their businesses and whatever. And then that we get that perfectionistic thing, right? Like if I can't do it right or be like here when I start, I'm not going to start. And so this whole process has helped me because it's like, I'm just going to get started. And so I'm feeling pretty, happy just going, hey, I've taken the steps to start.
Yes.
And I have a path to go, but I don't have to get to the end right now. And so it's a process too. And so.
So good. And how about you, Steph? What's coming up for you right now?
Oh, I'm just still riding on the high. I don't know. It's just like I believe, that I'm here, and I look back to especially like the past 2 years and everything that I have been working on my life and trying to manifest and change a direction of where I was and where I wanted to go. And through, my awakenings, I've always talked about publishing, a book and writing and opening businesses. And it's just, but there was a time to where it's like, what am I going to say? Who's going to listen to me? I don't have anything to, contribute. And the fact that I've worked through all of that and I pushed forward and I did the shadow work and still got a lot more to do, of course, and the fact that I'm here, I did it. It's just like still just so right now. Yeah. Tracy needs to go to bed. She's so tired.
You guys have no idea. Like my to-do list is still 50 bajillion miles long. I won't be going to bed anytime soon.
I want to plug Stephanie though, because she has these amazing subscription boxes.
Yeah, we'll see that. And I wanted to
full moon, and I mean, it's like there's your moon ritual in a box. Like,
yeah,
it's got good stuff in those.
Yeah, well, that when you were talking, I really wanted to touch on those as well, because like through this process, as you were writing your chapter and everything, you were also launching your subscription box. And so, like 2 weeks ago was when your first box really, well, I mean, it came out before that, but was when it was designed to be used at the full moon 2 weeks ago. And you're currently packing like the next one, because in 2 weeks from now, because obviously we're at the new moon, but in 2 weeks we'll have the full moon again, that your next set of boxes must be about to ship like in the next couple of days if you haven't already started shipping them.
Yeah.
And yeah. And so, you've been juggling all of that as well as writing your chapter and doing all of the things. So, like there's so many layers to this journey.
Oh, it's thousands of them. And that's one thing, like when I was manifesting and wanting all these things, it's like, okay, well, here you go. I got it all at once. Like it just started, one thing happened, the next thing happened, and then everything just started aligning together the way it was supposed to. I had to do some stuff in order for me to be here right now with you guys. And if I didn't go through those things, then I probably would have never met y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I honestly believe that you guys all came in at exactly the right moment for you.
When we were
like it didn't matter. Yeah. And so, Amanda, I know last night you were talking about how you read my invocation, which is in the very beginning of the book. And that's actually the invocation that I use to call every single one of you into the book. Right? Like, I cannot even tell you how many times I freaking recited that while walking my cat and collecting four-leaf clovers back in spring. So many four-leaf clovers. I can't even tell you how many. But, like for me, that was part of the ritual as well. It was like calling in, and like if I could see the moon in the sky, like speaking to her directly, and if I couldn't, just speaking it out anyway, and knowing that that energy was going out into the universe, and that whoever was meant to be in this book, whoever was meant to be in my containers would, would feel that call, right? Didn't matter how, it didn't matter what. And Talicia's touched on this before as well, that like she got my email. I've sent one email in the last 5 months to my email list, because I'm just so good at emailing. I'm excellent at emailing. Join my email list, because if you don't want to ever get spammed, because probably you'll never hear from me.
You'll be lucky to get an email.
You'll be lucky. But what happened was that I sent out one email, and Talicia saw that one email, and she was like also guilty of having an inbox that has like 1,000 messages in it that are unread, where she said before in like our interviews and things like that, that she quite often just does the whole select all, delete, and just clears her inbox because there's too many messages. She's not sorting through that. But for whatever reason, on that day, she got my email and she decided to open it. And I was talking about Lunar Wisdom, and that I was calling in authors, and, if she was interested or whatever, she could click this link and like fill in a questionnaire, or she could contact me this way, or whatever it was. And she was like, oh yes, this is for me. Like, this is for me. Like, this is my next step. And it's funny because I still have those moments where I see things and I know things, and I'm like, oh my God, yes, this is for me. Like, I don't know why, or, like sometimes it doesn't always make sense, but when you know, right?
Well, and it's like, so we met earlier at the beginning of the year because we were in the Moonologers Facebook group, and then you had posted a Zoom call, and after the Zoom, we just ended up talking for like
yeah, you came to a workshop that was like the worst workshop I've ever done in my life. That must have been during a Mercury retrograde, is all I can say.
And I'm just like, I think I have a new best friend, and she lives in Italy, right? I'm in Utah in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had another Zoom call thing, and so it's like, and like I said, I feel like I had a new best friend. And then, you send me this little private message on, I'm launching this book and I think you're great. And I'm like, but don't you know me? And then I was like, well, you do, because you're my new, because we just connected. Like, and so I had to like sit on it and think about how scared I would be if I had to tell my story. I kind of get a little scared about money, but not usually, because I can figure out how to take care of that, even if it takes a while. And and then like that imposter syndrome, I'm like, who am I to say anything to anybody, but, and I'm like, well, and then she's like, well, you do. And I'm like, I do. It's crazy.
I mean, there was definitely at least once where I did have to pull you up on the way you were talking about yourself.
I was like, oh, I got schooled. Don't introduce yourself like that.
But
I have a lot more cred and I should share it. I know. My husband would like to attribute it to that we've been raised to be humble, and we don't toot anymore. Like, and sometimes that does kind of circle back in, and you're like, what do I say about myself? But
yeah. But yeah, no, I love that, and I love the way that it was like, does she know me? Oh no, wait, yeah, she does know me. And I think that's one of the things, like there were other women who I also, like some other moonologists as well, that I have relationships with, who I had said, like, I think you would be amazing for this. And some of them that had even said, yes, I would love to, like, that sounds amazing. but then for whatever reason, whether it's the imposter syndrome or whether it's something else, have come back to me and been like, oh no, I can't do this right now. Like,
And I felt that for sure.
and I mean, like, no judgment. If it's not for you, then it's not for you, right? Like, I'm not going to stop liking you. We're not going to stop being BFFs or anything like that. But it was one of those things where I think it's really important what you mention about how we have this imposter syndrome and it can be really crippling. And you guys aren't the only ones who've brought this up. In fact, Erin, one of our authors, posted about this today, like as part of her Lunar Wisdom launch, that she hadn't spoken about the fact that she was part of this project publicly before today because she had been struggling with her imposter syndrome and she wasn't sure if she would get to this point without pulling out or self-sabotaging or, like backpedaling and just being like, oh no, sorry, I can't do this. And I think it's really important to acknowledge that sometimes it manifests differently between people, but that in essence, we all struggle with this exact same feeling. And it doesn't matter how successful we are in business. It doesn't matter how new we are. It doesn't matter whether we do a lot of pro bono work or, it really doesn't matter about any of those things. What it comes down to is that we are willing to make mistakes, that we are willing to be vulnerable because, and I know we touched on this before, but being vulnerable and being authentic and sharing about our stories is actually where it's not just like sensational just so that everybody is like, oh, like she's sharing this information. Like, why is she even actually telling us that? Because it doesn't really seem to go with the rest of her story or anything. But what it actually is this opportunity for us to tap into that vulnerability and allow the right women or the right people to resonate with that and be like, oh yes, I want to feel this safe and held. Like I want to be able to step into my radical authenticity, but I need somebody to show me a way. So if I allow somebody else to show me how it's done or how they deal with and how they navigate those struggles, then we, have this beautiful opportunity to dive deeper and get curious and then actually start releasing the imposter syndrome in different ways. And obviously it's not ever really like, it's not a magic wand where you just wave our fucking crystal gridded sticks around and be like, it's gone, poof. Like, we're not those kinds of witches.
I've got to pop off so I can drive in and go to my other work meeting.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. Gorgeous girl.
Yes. Good to see you again, Stephanie.
Yes. Bye.
Yeah.
We'll talk soon.
Okay, perfect.
Love it. Well, Steph, we can stay and keep chatting if you want, or we can wrap it up and let everybody who's watching click on the link in the ticker tape below to grab their book.
Yes.
And pick up a copy of Lunar Wisdom for 99 cents on the Amazon Kindle store. You do not have to own a Kindle to buy this book. You can, if you do not have a Kindle, Amazon Kindle actually has an Android app and an iPhone app so that you can read it on your phone or your iPad. But also they have a cloud reader, like a web browser-based cloud reader. So if you do not have a Kindle or a device that you could conceivably read it on, you can do it directly in the web browser. So there is zero excuse not to buy a copy, because you can read it anytime, any place, anywhere. And if you just need a little hit of magic, if you need a little hit of inspiration, if you need a little hit of practical knowledge and skills from the spellbook portion of the book, which is also one of the things that makes this really unique as an opportunity, is that, you know, like, we have this opportunity to be able to say, yes, I want to do something with this, or yes, this is what this is going to look like. And I feel like we just need to have the courage and the resilience to just allow ourselves to step fully into the flow of the energetics of the moon. Because once we just surrender and say yes, everything else starts to fall into place on its own.
So true. And I will confess, I did skip through and read some of like the rituals and the spells in the book. I was so see what others were doing, and it's I can't wait to like I can't wait to like practice some of them myself, and the different ways people just like, you know, with like the ritual baths, and then people have different ways of just doing that, and you can add like, you know, somebody else's, you know, idea, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, I can do that too. So the spell is fire. I love it.
Yeah, that was actually one of the things that I was super excited about, because there are, well, number one, there are not any multi-author books about working with the moon. I mean, there are plenty of solo author books, which is amazing for the solo authors. But there is nothing like this that showcases opinions of different groups of women. And I think what's powerful about that, especially like for our lunar ladies who might be on LinkedIn and places like that, where it does definitely have more of a corporate masculine background kind of feel,
right?
That it's still okay to be woo as fuck and show up on there or whatever. Like, but it's about going and finding the support that you need, and being open to be vulnerable and say, yeah, I need some help right now.
Yeah.
So
it's great. I'm excited.
Yeah. It is. Well, shall we wrap it up there, Steph? And we will let everybody get to purchasing their book.
Absolutely. You need your rest. You need to get your beauty sleep.
Oh yeah, like I would need to sleep for a year for that at least. But yes, no, there are still a couple of things on my list of things to do today before I can go to bed. But also, you know, it's hard to leave everybody's energy while everyone's like really just high on life and high on the success and things like that. I just don't want to miss a minute of it.
Yeah,
What can I say? But it's been amazing having you and Amanda here to chat, and I look forward to, you know, continuing this journey together as we move forward, you know, as authors, as, you know, colleagues, as, you know, as friends, as sisters. And, you know, I feel like this is really only the beginning of the unfolding.
I feel that too, and I can't wait to like just dive into it to more. I started like I got stuff written down and typed out. Like I'm moving forward with things, and I can't wait for like the next project and to put those. But also, I can't wait for the paperback to come too. We got to do that first, you know.
Yeah, right. No, so super excited about the paperback.
See it in
but
books.
Yeah, like. Our next project, oh my goodness, Steph, like the cover for Betrayed, which is the first book in the Wounded Women series, Jenny and I finally gave the sign off to the cover designer for like, this is the cover for the first book, and
I just got chills.
It's completely different to Lunar Wisdom. Like, it's got a personality of its own, but it is so fire. We had, like, Jenny and I both are just, oh my God, so in love with it. Like, it is just so good. But I've also sent it to 2 other women who had expressed interest in the Wounded Women series, just to be like, hey, you know, like, I know that you're interested. I just wanted to share the cover and get your thoughts and your feedback on it, because obviously your opinion is important to us. And the response that I got from both of them was like, hell yes, sign me up. Like, yes. So I feel like we totally nailed that. I'm getting really good at putting together vision boards for book covers, which is it's a special niche. I'm not really sure how much demand there is for it, but you know, it definitely has paid dividends in terms of the well, you know, like, obviously then there are fewer revisions to go on the cover, because we are sort of synchronized more with the I can't even find my words, but you know, anyway, I'm just saying, like, so excited, because it seems like the whole thing is just really in alignment, and really the vision that we have for that seems to be being responded to by the other women who are like our, you know, like, part of our dream team. And having them validate the concept and be like, oh my God, this looks freaking amazing. Like, that is definitely a huge part of it, and part of the anticipation. So I'm really excited now that this eclipse portal has opened.
Yes.
We've got 2 weeks until the full moon in Taurus, when the portal will close. And I just feel like there is so much possibility and expansion that's going to be coming out of this. So
I'm excited. Sign me up. I'm excited.
Yeah, so good. Okay, well, thank you to everybody who has been joining us and watching us. I do see you, and I appreciate all of you. And we are just, you know, we're so thrilled to have Lunar Wisdom come out. If you would like to purchase a copy to support us, we will promise to love you for the rest of forever. So grab a copy for 99 cents. Lots of the authors have some amazing freebies as a special bonus when you purchase the book. So do make sure that you are keeping the, you know, like, the digital receipt, so to speak, so that you can then pass that on to your favorite author or authors and redeem whatever their freebies are, so that they know that you appreciated their book, and that, you know, working with them lit you up, because I think that's part of the thing that is so pivotal to women being successful in business as well, is understanding where our networks are and how to leverage them in different ways, rather than being told, oh no, well, you know, like, you have to have your hair blow dried and you have to do this and you have to show up like that, and like all of the things. And we're just like,
no,
so exhausted.
Yes. So true. Tracy, you enjoy your night. Get some much needed and deserved rest.
Yes, well, I am totally digitally detoxing from tomorrow into Thursday, and probably through the rest of the week I'll be keeping a very low digital profile. However, I am totally here right now with all of the things. So, if anybody needs to hit us up for any reason, if you need us to point you in the right direction, or if you would like to just go to mybook.to /LunarWisdom, and you too could grab a copy of our Wit, Wisdom, and Magic. Laugh with us, cry with us,
Yes.
bath with us.
Yes. Chant with us.
Yes. So, take the things, implement something, and see how it makes you feel, and then let us know, like, did it resonate for you? Were there exceptional circumstances that meant that it did work or it didn't work?
Yeah. I'm excited for
And
the feedback too. I'm excited for that to start coming through.
yes. So if you have bought a copy and you have read at least part of it and you loved it, please consider leaving a review for us. Please
Yes.
consider going back onto Amazon and actually letting them know what you thought about our book, because that makes a huge difference in terms of long-term visibility on the book, because it basically says that this is a book that people are interested in, and this is something that more people need to see and more people need to read. And so those are some of the biggest gifts that you guys could possibly give us. So if you are watching and you want a full moon box for the full moon is it full moon in Taurus that's coming up? So, like, if you feel like you need some special lunar ritual things, like, just hit Steph up and be like, so what can I do? What can I use? And whatever. And then maybe check out one of her subscription boxes, because I can personally attest to the fact that they contain some really amazing things.
They're just going to continue to get better too. I've got like some amazing things coming up for future months too. So yeah, it'll be great.
So excited. Okay, beauties, thank you so much for being here with us today. We are going to let you go, and we will be in touch again soon.
Bye.